boys and girls. So today we're going to kind of combine what we've been learning with factors and multiples. So today's lesson is going to surround both of them. So the big thing to remember is that factors are, what are factors? So factors are, this probably looks familiar to you. I think I used it at the beginning of the week. They're numbers that you multiply together to make a new number. So for example, here we have 2 times 5 equals 10. The 2 and the 5 are the factors, and the 10 is a multiple of both 2 and 5. A multiple is just another answer for a product or an answer to a multiplication problem. So what numbers or factors can you multiply? And then we went on and talked about that already, so I'm going to skip over that. So let's just take a few minutes to practice with our factors and then we'll move on to multiples. So this one's pretty easy here. It just says, what are the factors of 16? Move the correct gumballs to the gumball machine. So these are actually slides that you're going to have today as your assignment. So those of you who are actually taking the time to listen to this video today, you're going to have a one-up on everybody else because a few of these slides I'm going to have done with you. So there you go. You can pull up the video while you're practicing the slides, do a little split screen action, or you can turn the video on, watch it, pause it, do the slide with me, pull up the Google Slides, either or, but this is definitely going to be to your advantage because that's why I decided to give you all of the slides because I figured I'm doing some of them with you. All right, so what are the factors of 16? Well, we talked about how to use factor rainbowing. Remember that. So factor rainbowing is where you put the whole number at the top. You want to make sure you always have pencil paper when you're doing factoring in multiples. That way you have room to do your work before entering your answers as a digital learner. I go over that over and over again. So we know we always start with 1 and 16. Then we do our next arc. We know that this is an even number, so therefore 2 has to be a factor. So we're going to put our 2. And I know if I use my multiplication chart or just know my math facts, 2 times 8 is 16. So I'm going to put my 8 over here. So our factor pairs so far are 1 and 16 and 2 and 8. Then I'm going to draw my next search. I'm going to decide, is 3 a factor? I'm going to go to my multiplication chart, go to the 3 along the left side. Then I'm going to go over and see, is 16. So I discover, no, 3 is not. So then I'm going to try 4. So I go to 4 and go across this 4 and find the 16. And I find, yes, 4 is a factor of 16. It actually is 4 times 4. Once you repeat itself, your factor rainbow is closed. You'll have to excuse the screaming in the background. There's a playground outside my window, and people have decided to scream ridiculously, which is absolutely insane. Anyway, so we are going to then move simply the factors into this bubblegum machine using what we did on our piece of paper here. So we know that 1 is a factor with 16. So I'm going to put the bubbles together. Then we know 2 is a factor. 2 and 8 are factors. And then we also know that 4 and 4, but you don't repeat your factors. So I'm just simply going to put that 4 in there. So that is how you do that slide. All right, I'm just going to do a couple of these, but the rest of them you're going to need to do on your own. So factoring, let's do, how about the hard one here? I would say 72 would be the hardest one on this slide. 100 should be pretty easy for you because it's hundreds, and you're ending in a 0, so you should know you have quite a few factors for 100. All right, so factors of, come on, camera. Factors of 72 here. So let's factor rainbow that 72. So we know that we always start with 1 and 72. Always start with your 1 and the same number. We know that it's an even number, so we're going to put a 2 here. And we're simply going to break 72 in half. I'm going to show you a strategy of how to do that. So what you could do is you can just draw this box and break it in half, okay? And we put our groups of 10s in each box, and we put our groups of 1s in each box. Okay, so if we have 72, we know that we have 7 groups of 10. So I'm going to try to break that up evenly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I have 1 group of 10 left over. So I took 6 groups of 10 out, and I have 1 group of 10 left over. And then I just bring down my 2 groups of 10. So that means, or 2 groups of 1, sorry. So that means I have 12 ones still to work with. Well, I know that you should know and I know that half of 12 is 6. So I'm just going to put 6 ones in each box. Then you just decide, okay, how many is this? Well, 3 tens is 30 and 6 ones is 6. So therefore 2 times 36 is 72. So if you need to pause that, relook at that, then you can do that. All right, so we're going to keep moving. Then we're going to try 3 out as a factor. Is 3 a factor? So you can use the same strategy that I used here with the 2 and break it into 3 boxes. And do the same thing. You got your 10s, 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 and your 1s, your 1s, your 1s. All right. So we still have the number 72 that we're working with. So we know we're going to break up the 10s, 7 groups of 10s. So we're just going to tally mark it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I can't take the last one out because it wouldn't go in the boxes evenly. So I take 6 groups of 10 away, and I have 1 group of 10 left over and 2 1s. Well, I have 3 boxes. So I have 12. I know my math facts. I know that 4 times 3 is 12. So I know that I'm going to have 4 1s in each of these boxes. So therefore, I just look at one box to see how many is in each group, and it's 24. So that is our factor that goes with 3. Okay. All right, let's do 4. Okay, let's see if 4. Here's a trick for you guys. If 2 factors out, whatever number you factor paired with 2, if you can break that in half again, it automatically means that 4 is a factor. So if you can decide what's half of 36, it's 18, then that's your other factor there. 5 can't be a factor because it doesn't end in 0 or 5. Right? And then 6, and you can probably use your multiplication at this point chart. So if you go to 6, so use that multiplication chart that I shared with you guys, go to 6 and you go over to 72 and go up, you'll see that 6 times 12 is 72. Okay? And then we're going to try 7 out. 7 can't be it because 7 times 10 would be 70, and that's too close. 8. We know that 8 times 9, and then we're back at the beginning. So therefore that closes our factor rainbow out. We got a pretty big factor rainbow. That's why I did this one with you guys. So what you're going to do is you're simply going to go ahead and put all of those in here. So you would say 1 times 72. You can use the X. You don't have to even type out like equals. Let's see. No, you don't have to do that. And then you just go through and type all of them out, the factor pairs that you have that we figured out together. So again, this is why it's beneficial for us to watch this, or for us to do this together, for you to be watching this so that you have that hard, difficult one done already. All right, so I'll leave that alone because I don't want it to be there for when you guys get it. All right, so then this next one is a Venn diagram. All you're doing here is dragging the factors into the different areas. So some of the factors are going to be the same. Like for example, if you factor out 8, we know that 2, all of these numbers are even. So that 2 is going to go right here in the middle because all of these are going to have the factor of 2. So if it only goes with 10, they go in this spot. If they only go with 8, they go in this spot, only 12 this spot. And then if they repeat both 8 and 12 here, if all of them go here, if there's a factor that's the same between all of them. And then this one is if they share a factor between 12 and 10. All right, so this next part is multiples. So what are multiples? Multiples are the number you get when you multiply one factor by another. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8. I think multiples are super easy compared to factoring. Multiples is just simply skip counting. And also it's just the answer to multiplication problems. So if you see here on the right, it says like 2 times 1 equals 2, 2 times 2 equals 4, and that is pointing to the multiples here. So if you just list these out and actually just repeated addition along the side, you'll have all your math facts listed out. So I'm going to skip over that slide because that one's pretty easy. And I want to make sure we go to, yeah, this one's perfect. All right, so it says list the first 5 multiples for the numbers. So you're just going to double click in the box and the circle, separate them with commas. Okay, so for this one, like 5's too easy. Let's do 12. I'm just telling you guys, it's all you got to do is repeated addition here. So if I have 12, oops, sorry. If I have 12 and then I want to find the first 5 multiples, don't let that number 5 trip you up. All it's asking for is the next 5 numbers. So you could even, like, on your piece of paper, draw out 5 lines. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm just going to skip count starting with the number itself. So this, I want the first 5 multiples of 12. So I just start with 12. And then what's 12 more? 24. 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. Sorry, 12 times 3 is 36. All right, if you're having a lot of trouble with it, use that multiplication chart. 12 times 4, okay, is 48. And then 12 times 5 is 60. So you're just, and honestly, even if I didn't know what 12 times 5 was, I could sit here and do this. Okay, I could add 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I know I regroup 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a way that you can use that strategy as well. Okay, so those are pretty easy. And then you would just list it out like it says, just put a space, comma, so on and so forth. Okay, so that's that slide. This one is pretty simple. You're just simply the factors, multiple machines. These machines multiply factors by a certain number to produce multiples. Move the correct multiples to each machine. So all you're doing is telling me this is 6. So the 6 went in. What can come out? So again, use your multiplication chart to kind of check your work once you've done it. But you definitely know that you're just counting by 6s. So you just will drag whatever goes into those boxes up into there. And then this next slide is where you're dragging the circles over where your multiples would be. So I know 9 is a multiple of 3, so I'm going to drag that circle over the 9. Some of them are going to have more than one circle over them due to the fact that some of them have common multiples. So again, using that multiplication chart to check your work is important. This one actually is really cool. It's where you are doing both. So remember, factors are the numbers you use to get to the answer. So if it's factors of 12, you're just deciding your factored rainbow for 12. Okay, this is not it. This is a factor rainbow for 16, but it's just an example. I would do this on a piece of paper, figure out your factors for 12, and then you move it into that box. Multiples of 12, so that's just skip counting by 12s, put that into those box. And then actually there's some numbers that wouldn't fit into either, so you need to figure that out as well. All right, so hopefully this video helped you out, and thank you for listening all the way to the end, and good luck with your slides today. If you need help, get on Math Help at 10:15.